surprise, you do the intro this time.
Oh my goodness, just put me on the spot. Welcome to another incredibly inspiring, happy episode of Hope, Power in Healthcare with Melissa Riley and
Chris Hemphill.
did I
Actually, got
die? Did I kill
you
it?
you dialed it in. You dialed it. And I think I
Yeah.
like the Melissa before the Chris. It sounds better. So it rolls
No,
off the tongue.
alphabetically, there's always the Chris before the Melissa.
See, we're turning things around here. That's what this podcast is about. So we're flipping the alphabet.
We continue our theme of not gatekeeping ourselves and, just share a little bit of, what would you call it? Chaos, um, a little bit of flexibility, agility, in how we show up each time.
Oh, chaos, chaos. Well, we're speaking
It's
of
good
chaos,
chaos. It's good
but
chaos.
with chaos, I would say 'tis the season, right? Like anybody, like this is my first time be like having an insurance client around the time of annual enrollment period or whatever
I
we
called
want to
it
call it.
open enrollment period, sometimes the special enrollment period, because it's such a
What?
special time.
So you've dealt with this for years and years, and for those who aren't as familiar, there's a big window that comes towards the end of the year where people can register for and change their insurance and health plans and things like that, and that's when things that's kind of like Christmas for a retailer, right? When all the systems are taxed and everything is going to the max. So this is the most important time for these signups and things like that. And you can imagine the systems are taxed. Actions and decisions have to be made and move fast, but deliver on that accuracy for these networks and things to work. So it's been really interesting seeing it from the inside.
Chris, have you come across the magical code freeze yet? Has anyone
The
told you about code freeze?
No, talk to me.
Okay, so as I always think of OEP or AEP as an interesting like window of enrollment, right? So it's the time when everyone is signing up for their benefits or they hope that everyone signs up for their benefits. As you move into December, oftentimes, and all the plans I've worked at, they have this thing called code freeze, which means all the projects you've ever worked on have to be done. You cannot touch the code from like a 2 or 3 week window starting in early December towards the end because they almost want to like close down the books and they don't want anything shifting ahead of the most magical day of the year, which is 1/1, right? Because
Wow.
1/1 is when the new plan starts. And there's like fear and worry that everything that they built in the prior year has broken with 1/1. And so having a family member who is an operator on the operation side, I don't say that we live in fear of 1/1, but it's almost like a run up till code freeze and then 1/1, but it all starts with the magical AEP.
So the code freeze is a relatable statement, though I hadn't heard that word exactly. But when it comes to high risk scenarios, my thing is nothing new on game day. If you're deploying something that is of a high risk, and there's like this big binary event, this big time that this thing is important to launch, you had better have tested it several weeks prior and had all the things that you're building and orchestrating for ready on that day. That's the hope. But it's like sometimes the reality is different. Sometimes during those scenarios, you learn and you have to adjust and adapt quickly. But I do definitely relate with that idea of like nothing new on game day. I take that concept so seriously. I talk about marathons every week, right? Like I am so serious about code freeze for my shoes on a marathon day that I will never ever wear a new pair of shoes for a race. It's nothing new on game day.
That's really solid. That's solid advice. And let me try to also like bring it back to our world of innovators. So I was coaching a new founder out of Canada yesterday. They were going in for their first pilot, and I was like, "Show me your game plan." I literally said that. I was like, "I want to see your game plan. I'm gonna try to break your game plan ahead of your game day in order to make sure that you're ready for like the real thing, you know?" So I really, I mean, I see you in that, and I really respect that. that mantra, because I think I try to live by it, right? Like, even if we tap dance through certain things, it's not like when we show up to these big meetings or these big days, we don't want to be like iterating on the fly. Like, we want to have a
No.
plan. Plan would be good. How does your thing
Yes.
work? Yes. Does it work? It should be working.
100. Yeah, yeah. And that's another little thing here. Again, this is my first time working at like working for an institution this large and things like that. And there's a whole lot more players.
Process,
Yeah,
bureaucracy,
yeah. A whole
all the
and
good things.
the like very often in demos, like if we're in the startup environment, we're moving fast. I'm just gonna show like my environment that has code, and I'm working out of terminal, so it looks like MS DOS or whatever, because I'm working on command line stuff, but still producing results, but it's in a very kind of like messy way. For presentations, what I'm learning about presentations at this level at Scan and these other types of organizations is, rather than that approach, like you don't have to go all the way to a fully buttoned up PowerPoint, but you do want to go to something that you're displaying a little bit more, such as, rather than like, people will be very uncomfortable if you're showing code, but if you're actually showing the live application, the software system that you're working on, maybe there's some wires hanging out of your demo display and everything like that, but you just have to be a little bit more careful than you would in a startup environment where you're working with a more technical team when doing these
Yeah.
types of presentations.
I hope you'll take this as helpful and not meant to be condescending, or everyone will look at it this way. But I always found it really great to, like, and I say this a lot when I coach founders, re-anchor everyone, because I think we context switch so much at a plan because you just have so many different things to do, right? So, like, when you bring them into the meeting, you anchor them on, like, who you are. I'll tell a funny story on that in a moment. What problem you're solving at the moment, right? Giving them a picture of the space that you're changing in, and saying, like, I'm doing this in order to get this outcome. And I found that to be a great way to create alignment. Um,
I
does
would
does that
that
help at all?
that bears repeating over and over again for a very yeah, because like a lot of time, like, I'm gonna, for people listening, let's establish some empathy here. If you are a builder or a founder, or you're working on a particular innovation, that's your day in, day out, 9 days a week, or however many days there are in a week. Maybe there's 12 days in a week, I don't know, but either way, you're focused on that 100%, and you're coming to an audience that they are making, you're one of many decisions they're going to have to make in that day. So when you're doing that presentation, it's not a matter of like hitting people with a bunch of technical details about how hard and powerful this work is. It's about realigning on, hey, what's the purpose of this thing anyway? Like, what's the actual business objective we're trying to achieve? We establish that, hey, this is the objective, this is the opportunity, this is the potential miss, and then you get into the Montel Jordan, this is how we do it. And
Oh,
then,
I love
yeah.
it. I love it.
But all that context is so important, because, like, this is why we do it first, before the hero story of your brilliant innovation that you've created.
You need to sing more on this podcast. I mean, I get such joy out of this. I do. I just think that the re-anchoring people in who you are and what you're doing. I promised I'd tell a funny story. It's funnier if you've seen this, right? So I have this sales person that I spent an enormous amount of time with at a lot of games and events and everything. And I love this tip. I might have shared it before, but, like, even when he would meet more senior people that had met him 1,000 times, he would remind the person of who he is and what he does, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you, Melissa Riley, salesperson, Melissa Riley, chief growth officer, again and again and again. So it's probably like the 30th time this man had introduced himself to the CEO. CEO looks and goes, Melissa Riley, I know who you are. You tell me every Sunday, right?
Melissa,
Dying, tears, right?
let's practice this. Give me your like, when you're going and talking in front of an audience and you don't have a huge amount of time to get that rapport. What's your intro?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Okay, so what I do now is I try to go as quick as I can. It's like two sentences, right? So I'm Melissa Riley. I like to say I'm living my preferment era now. So after 20 years of working across three different payers, I'm now working with the most fun startups and innovators, helping their innovation not die.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to take that one to the bank. That's like that hits.
And I
You
switch it,
practice that.
I switch it depending on like kind of where I am. And I think preferment era is perfect after yesterday being like October 3rd. Yay, Mean Girls Day. Yay, Taylor Swift
Wait.
Day.
What is October 3rd? Something happened this week, didn't it?
Oh, something happened October 3rd. Well, you know what October 3rd is. Have you not seen Mean Girls, Chris?
I've seen Mean Girls. I love Mean Girls. It's
Okay.
a long time ago. But
So
there's
there is a whole meme that is out there about October 3rd. I'll text it to you, right? So Katie Heron, played by the incomparable Lindsay Lohan,
mm-hmm.
turns around to the cute boy, Aaron Samuels, and goes, it's like the first time she speaks to him. She's like, on October 3rd, I asked him what day it was. And he says, it's October 3rd, right? And so Alyssa's over there in the chat. Like, she gets it. The best part about this is yesterday I was watching the commercial. We'll have to post this up by United Airlines, right? And it's the guy that plays Aaron Samuels. And he's on United Airlines. And he's like waiting for people to ask him what day it was. It's this great, great little vignette. And he's surrounded by people in gorgeous showgirl headdresses who are so not getting the fact that he is Aaron Samuels of the October 3rd meme. Like, they are all decked out for now October 3rd, which is officially the launch of TS12 for all the Swifties out there.
Ooh, TS12. I like that. Was that intentional? Did she choose that because of the Mean Girls, or just kind of overlapped?
I think everything that woman does is intentional. So if
She
I,
is quite a mastermind, I would
she
say.
is yes, well played, well played. So, my, without going deep into Swiftie lore, I do believe it's because 10 and 3, if you add them together, equals her favorite number, 13. And so hence why she has picked 10-3 to launch her new album.
Ah, TS12 on 10-3.
On 10-3, my sister and her daughter went to Target at midnight to get the new album Thursday night, and then dropped an album off for my daughter. So thank you, Jeannie. Much love.
Good on them for getting physical media. Like, that's back. That's back hardcore. Like, are these CDs or vinyl, or how
Oh,
are you?
vinyl. So my 12-year-old has a record player. So does my mom. Like, I do not have a record player, but like, we listen to records in our house. And I believe she released a bunch of records in the color of a rainbow. So, like, not only do people buy one album, they buy all 9 or 10 albums or however many she released.
This
That is
woman,
genius marketing.
she
Genius.
figured it out. Oh yeah, she figured it
Yeah.
out. So, yeah, I'll catch it up. I hope you're catching on some themes here. For those listening, like, if you're selling into these plans and things like that, we're talking about this chaotic scenario that happens around this time of year. So that's something to keep in mind for your sales forecasts and deal flow with health plans involved. There might be some competing priorities with regards to innovation at these times.
And you can start thinking about it on October 3rd. It'll be October 3rd. What day is it? It's OEP month.
Well, to get into something that's a significant theme on our show, like our first episode was don't gatekeep yourself. And I wanted to get back into that. We were just having a conversation about a LinkedIn post that we saw from Christina Farr,
I
who,
love Chrissy Farr. She's amazing. Shout out to Chrissy
yes,
Farr.
shout out Chrissy. I think that a lot of people found her through her work in journalism back in the early days, but now she's what's
She's over
what's
at
she doing these
Menage.
days?
Yeah, she's over at
Manat.
Manat. She just released a book. We should see if she wants to come out on the show. It's called The Storyteller's Advantage. So I haven't read the whole book yet, but I think the premise is the idea that like you'll go farther if you create narratives, right? People relate to narratives versus you just like preach at them.
Gorgeous. So yeah, well, we're gonna hammer in on Christina's on Christina's new message about not gatekeeping yourself. I want to get that out. Also, we want to talk about UHG and what they're doing with the new AI role that they've created, and reflections on the government shutdown, and honestly how there's been a little bit personal hit when thinking about that. I was thinking about those subject matters. Melissa, anything else that we should be covering today?
I think that sounds perfect. I'm sure we'll get into some other things as we go. We definitely can talk about all of the excitement for us personally. Just in the world of building and not gatekeeping ourselves. I think you and I both, we've been living by that motto, and I just think that's so good. You know?
And with that with that post that we're talking about, do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
Oh, I can read it. I'm happy to read it.
Okay,
I just have
I'll
it.
pull that on the screen.
Yeah. It's probably better coming from me to read it, right? In some
I
ways,
think
like
so. I think
based
so.
on based on just kind of what the content is about. So, um, Chrissy writes like some quotes from I think women. I'm not enough of an expert on that, but can I introduce to you a in parens male colleague? Introduce you to in parens male colleague who knows more. I'm traveling busy, so maybe next time. These are all phrases I commonly hear from accomplished, professional, brilliant women when I ask them for their input and expertise, and likely no more than 15 minutes of their time with the goal of featuring them publicly. No man in more than 10 years of my publishing career has ever turned down an interview or um, or an opportunity to be a thought leader, expert voice, regardless of their level of knowledge. With women, I strike out probably half the time. And I rarely ask them again because I also have bandwidth issues and to defer to those who tend to say yes. I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or what it is, but ladies, it's time to own it. You may not be the world's biggest expert, but you have valuable contributions to share. Of all the people to ask, you were selected for a reason. Sometimes there are legit reasons to say no, but most of the time, these women are more than capable, and I end up talking to a man who knows far less. So please, start saying yes and drop me a comment or a message if you have thoughts on this issue, because I genuinely love to understand it better. So Krista, I'm going to jump in on this because I even remember Chrissy had invited me, or somehow I got connected to Chrissy for this event she was running in Boston, and I ended up having to like pull out of it. I sent her a note. I felt really sorry about it, but like if I actually looked back to the time in which I had to say no on an event I really wanted to go to, it was because I was wildly overcommitted, and it was. Not that I didn't want to say yes or be with her in Boston, but I either had a kid event or a client event. I'm trying to even remember what it was, but it was like I could not be there. And I just remember I was talking to my mom about something this week. Um, and basically saying, yeah, I'm choosing between doing this, this, and this. And she goes, yeah, it's just something women have had to deal with since the beginning of time. I just think there's so much of that. And I'm a very fortunate person to have such support in my household as I know you have with Shay. But like between putting the kids to bed, between making the kids events, between client demands, between traveling and conferences, seeing friends and getting the Taylor Swift album,
Hmm.
it is like hard sometimes just to, build in an extra unplanned thing into the day.
So you're reading it, and as you're reading it, you're saying, "Oh my goodness, I am literally in this post."
Yeah, and I say yes a lot. I mean, ask my husband, right? Like if Christy calls me up and says I need a quote, yeah, totally. I'll work in a quote. But, even I couldn't make this awesome event she was running that I, wanted to say yes to and did.
So when it comes to when I'm reading that, I'm reading like I can understand saying no if there's a bunch of competing priorities, but what are men doing differently? Like if they have a bunch of competing priorities, how are they saying be able to say yes to that? Because I just don't see that see anybody on either side, but I live in a different world, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think I have seen like my issues might be a slightly different one of over capacity, under capacity. Um, Mine might be a capacity issue. I think when people want my opinion, I genuinely am pretty happy to give it to them. But
Mm-hmm.
I do watch a ton of women who won't apply for jobs, who won't put themselves out there, who might be nervous about speaking at an event because whether it's imposter syndrome or not, they don't think they're qualified to do something. And that's something I really push against all the time and try to coach people up and out from.
That's a 100. Honestly, even like Shay, for those who don't know that my partner is coming in her fourth year of residency at Henry
Yay for
Ford's.
Shay.
Yeah, for freaking real, as a OB-GYN. And I'll tell her about certain speaking opportunities and things like that. And it is kind of this conversation. Well, what am I going to talk about? And I'm like, I don't know. Working at one of the busiest and most impactful organizations that serves the underserved, and catching all these babies, dealing with all these challenges and problems, taking it in stride, and doing that day in and day out, working more intensely than anybody that I know. Maybe something of that is valuable, but yeah, I do have to keep that hype up when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's just because maybe there weren't always role models of people to look up to as we were all coming up. I mean, I think there's so much more. What was it? Japan is nominating the first woman prime minister. There hasn't been a woman president, right? It's probably only kind of in this era of Oprah and Reese and um, I don't know, Glennon Doyle. I'm trying to just think of like Brene Brown. Like there haven't been a ton of women like leaders that just put themselves out there and be really vulnerable about like the things that they're doing. And so maybe there's a little bit of like sexism, overtly built in where we feel like only a male expert is qualified to speak on this topic. I don't know that that has ever held me back, but I've seen it in others.
Well, what you've seen in others, because you are a fantastic person to coach people into like saying, "Hey, don't gatekeep yourself." That was the name of our first episode. What is your advice? How do you get people out of that mindset and remind them that they do have something incredible to talk about, and that's why they're getting the phone call in the first place?
Yeah, I think it's really you have to like go back and you have to tell them that they know more about this topic than they think they do, right? I mean, they've really diminished. I try to point to examples where they know something more than me or more than others, or hey, look at this incredible accomplishment that you've had, so that they can kind of leap off where they have been to propel themselves into something else. But one of the things I've really looked at is some people are live to work and other people are work to live. And so, what I mean by that is that when you have so many priorities in front of you and things that you care about, perhaps being out in the arena, to quote Brene Brown, is not as important to some because for them, they'd rather be tending the home fires. And that's okay, right? I mean, I think, Chrissy and I may have a lot in common because we don't mind being in the arena. Like, look at this podcast, right? We don't mind saying what we have to say.
Mm-hmm.
But others probably have never even thought of themselves as a person that could step into that arena and say the thing because that's just not the expectation that they had for themselves, right? Maybe their expectations are more aligned to making sure, their home life is running beautifully and fluidly. And that's where they really set their expectations for. So I do think there's a cut of, what arena are you trying to win? Where I don't know that men have to make that decision in part maybe because not all of them were working on They don't have to manage two or three or four arenas.
Yeah. So when it comes to the capacity issue, I see it on all angles, and I'm just trying to figure out what some of these folks are doing, because like I personally feel overwhelmed by like getting invited to speak. I've done it like in the past couple of weeks. Like last time I talked about hopping up and talking in front of the NAACP on the same day as speaking at a marketing organization. We found a way to make it work, but there was a little bit of a tax there.
Well, Chris, tell us like think back to your first speaking opportunity. So, did you always want to be a speaker? Did you always want to put your opinion out there? Because I definitely think there are people who want to put their voices into the ecosystem and kind of dream of that. And there's others that fall into it. And there's others that never even thought that their opinion might matter.
I think the first time that I spoke on anything outside of here's like a little personal history. You see the keyboards and synthesizers and stuff like that. You see the camera and all that. That's because I was streaming on Twitch. I was streaming horror stories. I would read a horror story while playing music, and then we would like whoever's on the stream, we would talk about the themes in that horror story. Uh, Fast forward a little bit, pandemic, and this company that I'm working at, they want to have some sort of presence online, and I'm like, well, I stream on Twitch, maybe we can do like a podcast or something like that, or some kind of LinkedIn live scenario. And even though I had been comfortable with like this kind of more fun environment, like when the topic switched to healthcare and it was my first time on a virtual stage speaking for that, I was so ludicrously nervous that I couldn't get any other work done. Like leading up to the project, it was all about like making sure everything was going to go right for this big webinar and everything like that. And then afterwards, like my boss saw like how much energy I'd put into it. He said, "Chris, go ahead and take the rest of the day off." So it was like a really big leap for me to have that comfort of getting up and taking on these opportunities. But now, after like probably over like 100 podcast episode recordings, and like gradually building into these speaking opportunities and things like that, that dread has been replaced with like, hey, here's how to prepare. Here's what the cycles are.
Yeah, but see, you had already chosen to step into a arena. You crossed a chasm into a different arena where you were less comfortable, right? But you had
Mm-hmm.
already put yourself out there. I think the point that Christy's post might miss is maybe some of the women that she's asking her opinion to have never pictured themselves being in the arena at all. And not that that's a bigger jump. It's just, I just always think of that happiness equation, right? Your happiness is equal to your expectations minus your reality. If you never have an expectation to be in this arena, then like you don't see yourself there. So it's definitely like there's worry or there's fear or there's not like joy in being asked to do this.
Mm, so we have that kind of like reluctant hero
Yeah,
issue coming up.
stepping
Yeah.
into the arena, right? And so what does that mean? Do we need hero school for people so that they feel more free to put their opinions out there, to be like, hey, you know something, you can say something, right? I mean, it's
Yes,
a great point she's making.
we do. We 100% need that, because what did she say? She said that, well, you start asking people, and you tend to lean towards the people who already said yes in the past. So if that's fewer of these very careful, very thoughtful women leaders, and they're being replaced by people that are just going to get up and hem and haw and say whatever, rather than talk about what's being built and what's actually on the truck, then denying that opportunity creates a future that we don't want.
Yeah, I think really well said. Really well said. I think we do need to find our experts and leverage our experts, and then make sure that our experts feel comfortable being their best expert selves in the arena.
Yeah, and we need to have we need to hear overwhelmingly from these experts who are tried and true and in the field. But I do get it. I do get it. Like, because I always think like, well, gosh, the time I spend talking about it subtracts from the time that I can spend being about it. Like I want to have the thing to talk about. So I get it that I get that tax, but she fire she got me fired up with that statement that, hey, we're going to tend to lean on the people who already said yes in the past. So we need more.
Yeah, I wonder if our bigger problem is maybe our experts don't believe they're experts, right? And maybe
Say
it's
more,
not.
say more.
Well, you could almost. I don't. We need Chrissy on the show to understand like her
Hmm.
mindset and all of that. But like, if it's really that they don't feel comfortable speaking up because they don't think they know enough, and this other person does, then they're denying their expertise.
Let's hear from the fam. I want to hear uh, hit us in private messages, me or Melissa on LinkedIn or what have you. If you have a story about being asked for that call, but you thought it was too risky or there was just too much involved and you just didn't want to step up or you wanted to put somebody else in front, let's hear those stories and figure this thing out, because like it is important. You see the voices that are being risen up in the media and AI and everything like that. We'd rather that be our fam's voice. So let us know, and we'll help one on one. Like Melissa's coached people on this before, and I have some opinions. So yeah, we're happy to help you up and hype you up. Right?
Yeah,
Am I
we're
volunteering
in
you for too much?
yeah, we're in the expert coaching arena now. We just stepped right in. We didn't gatekeep ourselves, right? And I'll shift topics on us a tiny bit, right? It looks like United has picked a new expert. Chris, want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this is really interesting to me. So United, the headline, this comes from Stat News, is that United has appointed a new chief health AI scientist, and his name is Dr. Michael Pensina, who was previously at Duke. So, previously at Duke, but also a co-founder of the Coalition for Health AI. So, what's really interesting to me about this is that when you look back 2019, the evaluation on racial bias in healthcare AI that was conducted by Dr. Ziad Obermeyer, that bias was detected in an album in an album sorry in AI in an algorithm that was being deployed by Optum, part of UHG. So long story short, on that one, they found that there was a racial bias in how the algorithm was recommending people for high risk programs. But they conducted that study, got the word out there, and I think worked on some deeper bias mitigation efforts. Honestly, that study inspired a lot of my work in bias mitigation. But then you fast forward, there's this other algorithm, NH Predict, that was this one was doing some terrible things in terms of recommending a shorter length of stay in skilled nursing facilities for senior patients than might have been clinically advised because of the nature of the algorithm. So what's striking to me about this hire is that like the Coalition for Health AI is extremely focused on responsible AI methods, algorithmic transparency, and things like that. So I am kind of heartened because I've seen a little bit of the inner workings of Duke and how they approach algorithmic transparency. There's actually an episode of Trade-Offs podcast where one of the head data scientists from Duke talks about their approach to addressing AI bias. So if they're taking some of these philosophies and mindset for thoughtful algorithmic development, if again, like it is a hire and they're absorbing someone into a broader institution, but if that thoughtful development does permeate throughout the organization, if there's the opportunity to lean on that thinking and that mind, then that does give me a bit of hope. I'd like to see how things evolve. But if Michael can hold some power in that institution and be well resourced and backed, then maybe maybe in a few weeks or a few months we can start talking about thoughtful AI development that might be happening under his watch.
So I really like that this is happening across the board. I liken it a little bit to like where Cigna has their AI Center of Excellence that was led by Dr. David Bralier and my friend Will Lopez. And so I'm really uplifted by the fact that the payers are looking at thoughtful AI deployment. I mean, I think there is, as a risk mitigation organization, Chris, as you know, right, there's going to be a lot of caution on where the application of AI is in a healthcare organization. I'm actually cheering for that, right? I mean, I think, I love innovation. I'm promoting innovation, but I think we do have to, you know, proceed with caution on where we apply AI around people's clinical needs. Now, if we want to automate the heck out of everything administrative, I'm all for that. Like, use AI where it makes the most sense. But I think you have to have a strategy. And so I'm with you. I'm very excited to see a thoughtful person be put into hopefully a thoughtful arena to tie it all together.
In reality, two ways that this can go. Like, yeah, we see a big headline hire, head of Chai, coming in and hopefully riding a ship based on the on some of the examples I brought up. Do you see it that this person gets the resources and team and things like that that they need, or that it becomes more of a hire for show?
No, you're gonna hate my answer. It depends, but I don't know. I don't know what the scope of authority is for this role, nor do I know like kind of where that person is operating. But it's always going to come down to like, can they make a business case or an argument for the thoughtful deployment of AI in a way that the all the nation states, if you will, all the parts of the organization don't reject. So if you come in guns blazing without the authority to make the changes, which let's hope they do, but if they don't have the authority, the nation states, the different parts just kind of reject it. If the organization feels like they need it because they're lacking the expertise, or they have to hit goals, right? If there's aligned incentives, it will proceed beautifully because there will be benefit to the parties riding together. And personality matters too. Like, I don't know Michael, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, collaborative he is, or how others will perceive or receive him. But if he can win the parts of the organization over with, I can help you save money, it could go quite well.
Then that will kind of rolls up into the type of advice that might be applicable for anybody else who's trying to push ethical AI or responsible approaches within their organization. Because I'm speaking from experience when I say that, hey, in the times that I was working on myself and this data science team, we were working on this ethical approach to predictions in healthcare. It would have died in the water if we weren't able to tie it to an overall business case. So by highlighting that this thing was able to identify more people in the market that were in need for these services, it answered a fee for service question, but it also answered a question of like this digital invisibles concept that we were talking about last week, where because of people's race or gender background, they might not be as reflected in the data and as seen by the data. So we were addressing this digital invisibles concept while at the same time being able to make a business case for the use case. So what gets me optimistic about anybody in this space in healthcare versus any other field is that it's mandatory. It's really it's a part of good care to have health equity and equitable outcomes in mind, and thus like it's you have a much easier time building that business case in this healthcare AI domain than you have in any other field that you're operating in.
Yeah, and I don't know, this concept of like a change management. I think so many people forget like change management, and there's a role for that here. Like, you're taking this thing that has an element of mystery to it, right? That sometimes can't be explained, and you're trying to drop it into a world of certainty and like predictability, and people have the prediction of how diseased someone will be down to the science, and then you're introducing this thing of mystery. There's a culture clash
Mm-hmm.
there that needs to be chasm crossed in a really interesting way. And I think we've seen AI move into other places so much faster than I think it's moved into healthcare. But I think that's pretty much par for the course in just healthcare's evolution of history.
Yeah, yeah. We've seen it, and I like the fact that you're introducing that kind of like mystery box explanation to it, because like a, a lot of people in software development and engineering culture and everything, they're used to things that I input this and this is what I get out. Whereas with these algorithms, there's a bit of a probability involved, and it's not just deploying software and code. It's about how we influence the behaviors of the system based on what these things output and how seriously we take them, how what kinds of levels of risk that we deploy these things in, and how equitably they're applied. So big shoes to fill, big job to do, and I hope that he can get in there and align ethics with that business case. That's my hope out of this.
Yeah, we are going to see. We are going to see. And, I just think all this uncertainty around AI continues to build layers of uncertainty, inside the federal government. So is okay we switch to our last topic for the day?
Yeah, we can talk about the federal government.
Won't that be fun?
uh, yeah. So at the time that we're, well, actually, let me restart. So I'm looking at the camera when I say this. I need to get this article front and center.
As you're doing that, I could also tell you about my fun use of AI for the week if you want me to share about that, right? It's not anywhere near as profound as what we've been talking around applying AI to healthcare.
Yeah. Let's talk about a AI use case, and then talk about this report from Fierce Healthcare.
Yeah, so I found a way to use AI to make my outfit selection easier. Now, you wouldn't know that from my awesome sweatshirt that I'm wearing today, but I wrote a little, I had my friend John Bailey, he's great, create me a GPT around outfit selection and outfit purchasing, right? Because I've got a bunch of upcoming events, right? And so I've got this little GPT. It's called Share. It's my Share app, right? And I can
Wait
tell
a minute. We talked about this last week.
Yeah. Did I?
Okay, cool.
Did I tell this? Share is evolving. Share is evolving.
Share's going?
Share has evolved, right? So now I can we can cut this if we need to, but now I can take Share. I can tell it where I'm going. It pops out outfits. And then now I can feed it pictures of outfits I want just from anywhere. And it tells me where to buy it from. So this is my own personal odyssey. I'm sure it sounds very vapid to all these very strong use cases of AI, but man, I am just loving the evolution of Share.
No, it's not vapid. Like, we have to talk about how to show up, and if Share is helping ease that outfit selection journey, which is very real and very important. Go Share, and love the name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Okay, so hopefully you found your article.
I hope nobody's clueless to that reference. Either way. All right. So it's just been like we hadn't had a plan to talk about this, but it kind of hit personally this week with the government shutdown and the furloughs and everything like that. And maybe we're in a different scenario by the time we publish this episode, but what happened on a personal note is that we were at NYU. We were looking to do a presentation, a webinar that's coming on. We're planning for this on November 20th. Anyway, no matter what, we're planning for November 20th. Discussion on tools and how AI is being used in a fight against suicide and addressing issues around Black youth suicide and other suicide among other groups that are less discussed these days. There's a researcher that I can't say his name, but he's a federal government employee, and we were really excited to have him on board. He was eager to jump on this, and I sent him an email the other day, and the message I got back was that, hey, things are uncertain right now. It was an auto reply, and it was, this employee is on furlough. So it just really reminded me, like, we see these headlines and things like that, and we wonder about where cuts are coming and where the impact is going to be. And it was just a reminder of how it feels to be involved in this thing tangibly, especially when we're seeking approval for a conversation on a very important work on suicide. And we can't necessarily like we're going to have that panel. We're hoping for November 20th. Just mark it on your calendars right now. But yeah, it is interesting how this thing is taking a hit in some unexpected ways.
Yeah, we were worried with the rise of the commercial building, which we're using an SBA loan for, that we were going to be hit. Fortunately, it looks like the SBA is one of the areas that won't be impacted by the furlough. They're going to keep that going. And so I think it might be really interesting to go deeper on this, Chris, in future episodes to start to understand, even maybe politically, how is the administration impacted, grants and money for things that we care about a ton in the healthcare space. Like I don't have this article pulled, but I thought I read this week that like NIH just invested heavily in autism, right? And so it's interesting how some areas are moving ahead. The government shutdowns impacting some other areas, but it just sounds like a really challenging time to navigate this landscape for our innovators. And that's, I think, where you and I are just trying to, I don't know, bring a little light to walking these journeys.
Yeah, and when I think about how our episodes roll, like a lot of times we'll bring up some topical news issues and things like that. But we're going to publish this thing in a few days from today, and maybe there's an update from then. Like right now, as it stands, NIH research ground to a halt. At FDA, in this Fierce Healthcare report, new applications put on hold right now. So that's like we know that there's conversations, even like there's a convening that the FDA is planning on November 6th. I don't know exactly where that stands as of now. And yeah,
they might not either, right?
Yeah, exactly. So lots of confusion for the right now, but maybe we do follow up with during this time there are some programs and arrangements, cuts and things like that might be long lasting, that there might be some irreversible change that comes out of this. So I'd like to focus in on a future episode on what the long lasting impact may be from some of the things after after the shutdown has ended. What do you think about that?
I love that. I think it'll be helpful for those that are continuing to try to innovate. And I know we want to continue to make things easier for those out there, because that just matters so much to you and I.
So more to come as stories evolve on the long lasting cuts and things like that. Like again, we're not like the Twitter, the hot take or anything like that. We're more about let's think through what these long term implications are. But while we're not thinking about long term implications, like the work is important. The work that you're doing is important, but the recharge is as well. So Melissa, to our pop culture section, what has been your recharge? What has been on your pop culture radar lately?
I need to say nothing more, but I have gone super deep into Taylor Swift land. I'm going with my daughter to the movie tonight, hopefully. I have listened to the whole album. It's a bop. I love it. I love to see our girl, this mastermind of reinvention, this innovator, so happy. And, that I think that it's full of clever lyrics, some catchy tunes. Isn't it my favorite album? Yeah, probably not. But it's awesome and it's joyful.
Let's prop that up. And Melissa, do you think there's a chance that maybe we can get somebody from Taylor Swift's team on the show? Hear me out. This, like, you're talking about a rainbow of vinyl records being released, digital media, other parts of the release. A movie is also coming out. People are going to Target at 12 a.m. and things like that. Like this, I've never heard of a better and more coordinated release. And maybe there is some kind of learning and cross-pollination, go-to-market perspective that we don't talk about it just like that on the episode. But if we can get somebody on her team discussing like all the coordination and planning and stuff like that, that would be cool. That's a pipe dream, but it would be cool.
I actually love this idea. So I think we should set a goal, right? You know, in our master vision boards, as all innovators should have vision boards for their future. I think we either try to get someone from Hello Sunshine, Reese's team, because she's got like the books, like, you know, multi-dimensional, multi-hyphenate, or someone from Taylor's team. Like it would be too much to aspire to want Taylor or Reese. You know, that could be a 5-year goal, but I
Hmm.
like it. Like, I don't know how to reach out, but, you know, in my spare time, which I do not have, I will add this to my list.
We're gonna somehow you magically make things happen. We're gonna figure it out. We'll put our heads together, and yes, either from Taylor or Reese's team, we
Or
gonna get somebody.
McConaughey, maybe someone from McConaughey's team. Like, and again, like these multi hyphenate humans, like all of our innovators are. Wouldn't that be so fun? I would just love this.
It's real. It's very real too, because we're talking like, let's take The Pit for example, Emmy award winning show.
You've talked about it before. You love it. Yeah. I haven't seen it
Yeah,
yet.
watch it. You'd enjoy it. Shay says that it's real. So well, real for the most part. So go on and watch it. But the medical consultant on that show, she was on the Gist Healthcare podcast. So that like you know that's not like one of the big major giant podcasts that everybody's on, but like they were able to talk to the medical director about the meaning and things like that behind this gigantic production and things like that. So I've got hope that we can get to somebody who's connected. We've got 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of separation here. Anybody who can help us in this goal of getting somebody to talk, let us know who to connect with, and we'll have that health tech conversation with someone from Taylor or Reese's team.
I think that'd be so cool. What are you listening to? What are you watching, Chris?
I am so upset right now because anytime I've been on a Romanian folk music kick with there's this composer Bela Bartok who made this like symphonic Romanian folk music piece, and I thought it sounded cool as hell. Like I thought it's from the 1920s, but it sounds like a lot of like this video game music from Final Fantasy games and stuff like that does today. Sounds way ahead of its time. But anytime I play it for people, they're not interested. They think it's boring or whatever. But I don't know. That's been my fuel. Is this Romanian music? It's really good, really intricate, really cool. But sadly, I'm just not finding that other people are like down for this folk music.
I think that's okay, Chris. I just be yourself in the arena. You could become an expert on this. You know, just own it. Like you know, you might have eclectic taste. That's okay.
Yeah, we out here. We out here. Maybe I'll drop something on the playlist for
Yeah.
y'all. But yeah, anybody who likes one of those songs, you're gonna be my best friend. Maybe my only friend.
Oh,
Because like
I'm a little
I
more I'm a little more mainstream. I liked did you listen to this one? It's Ed Sheeran's Sapphire. Maybe I'm late to the party, but a friend sent it my way, and it has a really fun mix of like an Ed Sheeran kind of tune mixed with like Indian music. I kind of thought it was African at
ooh, that's
first, but it's
cool.
yeah, listen to Sapphire. It's got like again, I don't know, I'm into like happy catchy bops this week apparently, you know.
I'll check it out. I'll check that out. But yeah, so HPH fam listeners, you got a variety of things to listen to. Oh, another reminder too. Remember like what we had Dr. Jonathan Fisher and Jeremy Rosario from the In Clinician Burnout Summit. That is coming. We're so excited. We've been doing a lot of planning for that event. That's coming on November 6th, and anybody who is registering for the ECB Burnout Summit, you enter HPH fam, and you get a 25% discount. So yeah, that's a good.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
And for those that are going to be out at HLTH, I would love to meet some of the fam. I will be hanging out with Zeel in our medical massage substance use disorder space. So we'll keep posting that up too. I would just love to meet anybody who wants to come by and maybe get a free massage. So,
Oh, I was gonna say, tell me about the booth benefits of that.
yeah,
Like we're
yeah.
talking
We are
free
talking
massage.
free massage. Yes, come on by. We'll get you signed up, and I'm excited to meet some of the fam.
Cool as hell. Cool as hell. Well, hey, folks, thank you so much, and we're gonna see you soon.